You opened Netflix to watch something. You spent 25 minutes scrolling. You started three things, watched the first 2 minutes of each, and went back to browsing. Eventually, you put on something you've already seen before, something safe, something familiar, and fell asleep 20 minutes in. You didn't watch Netflix tonight. Netflix watched you. And everything that happened in those 25 minutes of browsing every thumbnail that caught your eye, every show that appeared at the top of your screen, every recommendation that seemed almost eerily accurate was the output of a system that knows more about your viewing psychology than you do, and uses every piece of that knowledge to keep you subscribed, keep you watching, and keep you from ever quite feeling like you've seen enough. Netflix has 270 million subscribers paying every month. The thing worth asking is not how they got that many. It's how they keep them, because the product, the actual shows and films, is only part of the answer. The other part is a behavioral architecture, so carefully constructed that most people experience it as a streaming service and never see the machine underneath. By the end of this video, you'll see the machine. Let's start with the problem Netflix invented and then solved in the most profitable way possible. When Netflix moved from mailing DVDs to streaming, something unexpected happened. They went from offering a few thousand titles to tens of thousands. And subscribers, instead of feeling delighted, started feeling paralyzed. Too many choices, too much time deciding, not enough time watching. This is a real psychological phenomenon called the paradox of choice. The more options you have, the harder any individual choice becomes, and the less satisfied you are with whatever you pick, because the awareness of everything you didn't choose lingers. Netflix had accidentally built a product that was exhausting to use. Their data showed people spending enormous amounts of time browsing and relatively little time actually watching. And time spent browsing is time spent not fully committed to the product. It's the moment you might remember you have other things to do, or switch to a competitor, or simply close the app. Their solution was not to reduce the catalog. It was to take the choice away from you. The home screen you see when you open Netflix is not a neutral library. It is a ranked, personalized, algorithmically generated prescription for what you should watch next, built specifically to move you from browsing to playing as quickly as possible. The shows at the very top of your screen are not the most popular, or the newest, or the most critically acclaimed. They are the ones the algorithm has calculated you are most likely to start watching right now, tonight, in your current context. The system knows what time it is. It knows how long you've been on the app. It knows what you watched last and when you stopped. And it places the thing most likely to capture you exactly where your eye lands first. You feel like you're choosing. The algorithm already made the choice. You're just confirming it. Now let's talk about the thumbnails, because this is the piece of Netflix's machine that most people never see, and it is extraordinary. The image you see for any given show on Netflix is not the same image everyone else sees. It is a version of the thumbnail selected specifically for you based on your watch history. If you've watched a lot of romantic films, the thumbnail for an action movie might show the lead characters in a quiet, intimate moment. If you watch a lot of thrillers, the same movie's thumbnail might show a chase scene or a close-up of a weapon. If you respond to recognizable faces, the thumbnail will feature the most famous actor in the film, front and center. Netflix runs thousands of A/B tests on thumbnails simultaneously across their entire subscriber base, measuring which image gets more clicks from which type of viewer. The result is that the same film can have dozens of different thumbnails, each one deployed to the specific audience segment most likely to click it. You are not seeing a poster. You are seeing a message personalized to your psychological profile, designed to push the exact button most likely to make you tap play. The artwork is not art. It's a conversion tool. And the moment you do tap play, the next layer of the machine activates. The first few seconds of any Netflix show are not the actual beginning. They are an audition. Netflix's internal research showed that viewers decide within the first 60 to 90 seconds whether to continue watching or go back to browsing. So every show on the platform, every one, is under enormous pressure to deliver something immediately compelling in that opening window. A hook, a question, a moment of tension or beauty or shock that makes leaving feel like a loss. This sounds like it would make shows better. In some ways it does. But it also means that what gets commissioned and what gets renewed is increasingly determined not by whether people find the experience meaningful or satisfying, but by whether they keep watching. Those are not the same thing. A show that is genuinely good but takes 3 episodes to find its footing will underperform against a show that opens with something immediately gripping and then declines in quality. Netflix's metric is not your satisfaction, it is your continuation. And the entire content strategy flows from that distinction. This is why Netflix pioneered something the television industry had never done before, dropping an entire season at once. Every episode on the same day. The stated reason was viewer freedom, watch at your own pace. The real reason is binge design. When shows released weekly, the natural rhythm was 1 episode per week. You watched, you waited, life continued between episodes, and your relationship with the show stayed proportionate. When all episodes arrive at once, the psychological pressure changes entirely. There is no natural stopping point. Every episode ends with a cliffhanger or an unresolved thread deliberately, structurally, as a design choice, because the next episode is right there, and the friction of starting it is almost zero. The credits roll, the countdown begins, and unless you actively resist, the next episode plays. Netflix measured this and found that the shows that got binged got renewed, got recommended, got talked about. So they designed for the binge. They funded shows whose structure rewarded watching multiple episodes in one sitting. The cliffhanger is not a storytelling choice. It is a retention mechanism. And you felt it, that specific, slightly uncomfortable feeling of, I'll just watch one more at midnight, at 1 in the morning, knowing you have to be up early, and watching anyway. That feeling was engineered. Now, let's talk about how you got on Netflix in the first place. Because the free trial is one of the oldest and most effective psychological traps in the subscription economy. Free trials work for a reason that goes beyond simply letting you try the product. They work because of something called the endowment effect, the psychological tendency to place higher value on things you already possess than on things you don't. The moment the free trial begins, Netflix stops being something you're considering and becomes something you have. Your Netflix, your list of shows, your recommendations, tuned over weeks to your specific taste. And when the trial ends and the charge appears, canceling doesn't feel like declining a product. It feels like giving something up, losing something, and loss, as we've seen across this entire series, is the most powerful motivator in consumer psychology. Netflix makes this worse by designing the trial period to be exactly long enough for the algorithm to learn your preferences and the recommendations to feel eerily accurate. By the end of 2 weeks, the home screen feels like it knows you. And something that knows you is much harder to leave than something generic. Then when you try to leave, you meet the cancellation flow. Netflix's cancellation path is not as aggressive as some. They've faced regulatory pressure and simplified it over the years. But the design still follows the same principles as every other subscription dark pattern. To cancel, you must navigate to a settings page that is not where you'd intuitively look for it. The button is not on the home screen. There is no cancel option visible during normal use. You must know to go looking for it. Once you find it, you're shown everything. You'll lose your list, your recommendations, your viewing history, shows you're halfway through. The language emphasizes loss at every step. And then, before the final confirmation, you're offered a pause. Not a cancel, a pause. Keep everything, just don't pay for 1 or 2 months. Many people take it because pausing feels like a compromise rather than a decision. And a compromise means never fully committing to leaving. The pause option was not added as a customer service feature. It was added because Netflix's data showed it retained a significant percentage of users who would otherwise have churned completely. It is a trap door built into the exit. Then, in 2023, Netflix executed the most sophisticated conversion maneuver in streaming history, the password sharing crackdown. For years, Netflix knew millions of people shared passwords, one account paying, multiple households watching. They allowed it because those non-paying viewers were still engaged with the platform, still recommending it, still building attachment to Netflix shows. Then, when growth slowed and the subscriber count stopped climbing, Netflix flipped a switch. Password sharing was suddenly against the rules. The extra member feature appeared you could add someone outside your household for a fee. And millions of people who had been watching Netflix for free were now faced with a choice: pay or lose access. The timing and execution of this was deliberate. Netflix waited until the attachment was maximum years of watch history, personalized recommendations, partially watched series, the sunk cost of time invested in the platform. Then they applied the pressure. And it worked. Netflix added tens of millions of paying subscribers in the quarters following the crackdown, Many of them, people who had never paid before but couldn't bring themselves to walk away from something they'd been using as if they owned it. The password crackdown was not a piracy response. It was a conversion strategy, executed at the precise moment that loss aversion would be at its highest. Even the pricing itself is designed to manipulate your reference point. Netflix raises prices regularly, and in a specific way, small increments, spread across time, announced well in advance, and then implemented quietly. Each individual increase feels almost reasonable. The cumulative effect, from the first price to the current one, would have seemed unacceptable if shown to you up front. But because each step was small and spaced apart, you adapted each time and stayed. This is called price anchoring over time, and it is why you are paying roughly twice what you paid when you first subscribed, and have never quite felt like that was the moment to cancel. Let's go all the way back. You opened Netflix to watch something. The algorithm placed its best bet at the top of your screen before you'd even started scrolling. The thumbnails showed you a version of each show tailored to your specific psychological profile. The first 60 seconds of whatever you played were engineered to prevent you from leaving. The structure of the season was built for the binge, with cliffhangers designed as retention tools rather than storytelling choices. The free trial created ownership before you'd paid for anything. The cancellation flow buried the exit and offered you a pause to delay the decision. The password crackdown struck at the moment your attachment was highest, and the price rose so gradually, so patiently, that you adapted every time and stayed. 25 minutes of browsing, something you've already seen, and a monthly charge that feels, somehow, too embedded to remove. Here's what's worth sitting with. Netflix is not in the entertainment business. Not primarily. It is in the subscription retention business, and the entertainment is the mechanism. The shows are not the product, you are the product. Your continued monthly payment is the revenue, and everything from the thumbnail to the cliffhanger to the cancellation flow is infrastructure designed to ensure that payment keeps coming. The experience of watching, the genuine enjoyment of a great series, the connection you feel to characters across a long story, all of that is real. And all of it is also leverage. The better Netflix is at making you love something, the harder they've made it to leave. This is the subtlest version of everything this channel has been about. The supermarket moves your body. The casino steals your time. Your phone colonizes your attention. Netflix does something quieter. And in some ways more complete, it gives you something genuine, something you actually enjoy, and then uses your enjoyment as the chain. You're not being tricked into wanting something you don't want. You actually want it. The trap is that wanting it, and being known to want it, and having a history with it, and being halfway through a season of it all, of that becomes the mechanism of your retention. Your taste is the lock. The algorithm holds the key. But now you've seen it. And the next time you open the app and the home screen loads with exactly what you feel like watching, some clear part of your brain is going to whisper, "I see what you're doing." Every system in this series runs on the same engine. Learn what you want, give you enough of it to create attachment, and then use that attachment to take more than you meant to give. The store, the casino, the phone, the furniture maze, the flight, the stream. One blueprint, everywhere you look. We take them apart one by one. So if you'd rather see the system than be moved by it, you already know what to do.